Okay guys, I'm gonna do a semi-quick video on just putting piston rings on the pistons, and then I'm gonna assemble the piston to the rod. These are the instructions that came with my pistons. I'm at the section where it's showing you as far as where to place or where to orientate the rings. So at this point, you've already put all your rings in the whatever corresponding cylinder. I have mine laid out to match the bore that I did them in, and then you have a primary and a secondary compression ring. And what you're looking for is always going to be some type of symbol or like a dot. You can see them, and that's going to be always facing up, because if you look at these, it's going to be really hard to see this on camera. This is the primary ring, but let's see. If you look at the very edge, you can see there's like a little taper, or like where it kind of overhangs, and so like as this comes back down, you know, any oil that gets past everything is going to catch that, and it's just going to help scrape it back down. There's all kinds of different materials of rings, as far as what the top ring's made out of, second ring's made out of, etc. There's benefits to different materials depending on your application. This video is not at all going over what that's about. Basically, all I'm wanting to do is just do a quick video of your rings they've been gapped, you know, according to whatever you want to gap them to. And again, I already have a video doing piston ring gap, but there's some numbers to go off of. This is what came from JE with these pistons. They're 2618 pistons. So again, all that's already been done, right? So now all we're doing is just kind of assemble the rings onto the piston, orientate them in the correct order. Lyle makes, there's going to be different brands, but this is a piston ring tool. I don't have a part number on it. No, it don't. Basically, it just helps put the ring in there, and then you can spread it. So it helps you basically set a ring in here like so, and you can spread that ring so you can do a nice even, you know, you can install it on the piston very nice and even. These are very cheap, so it's definitely worth just getting. If not, you can still put it on like by hand, you know, and try to stay as even as possible, and you can stretch it or like even work it around into the groove that you want. But instead of doing all that and risking bending one of these rings, because if you damage the ring or bend it or whatever, not only trying to do it by hand, are you risking, you know, maybe scratching or marring up the piston. Just get a cheap little piston ring tool, and then that way you can put it on no problem. So I got these laid out. Again, I'm gonna go one at a time in real time, and then I'm gonna do a hyperlapse on doing the rest. So all we're doing is installing the rings for now. I'm just gonna wipe them down with a shop towel. I got some transmission fluid, so some real thin lubricant that I'm going to use. So after I wipe down each ring, I'm just going to basically put some of this in my fingers, and then I'm just going to lightly lubricate each ring, both sides, and I'm going to install it on the piston, and then I'm going to follow the orientation that they're telling me to do. Down here I already showed you that picture, so that's what I'm about to do. So let's get started. You can see this V, these are coated on the top. These are fully coated pistons, but there's a V. Well, there'll be always a dot or some kind of marking that this needs to face forwards. But just want to give you all a heads up. Always make sure you're orientating the piston even when you're doing the ring, so they're orientated correctly on the ring or on the piston based on how this will be orientated in the engine. There's no marking on the oil ring, so these can be orientated either which way. It ain't gonna matter. This will be these I'll do by hand because they're very flimsy. You're not gonna need the tool to open this up. So this will be my my bottom oil ring, which will say if the arrow is at 12 o'clock, this is basically, that gap will be at 11 o'clock. So this will be in the very, very bottom groove. Very, very bottom. Move that to 11 o'clock. Oil ring expander. Basically, it's just saying you want this gap to be around 3 o'clock. So that's going to go right above that bottom oil ring we just did. Take my top oil ring, which is going to be at 7 o'clock. I'll show you. This is what it should look like. You see that gap, that top ring, the top oiling ring, it was around 7 o'clock. Then what was 11 o'clock? So I might move it just a tiny bit. But here's the top. So right now it's close to 12. I'm about to have to move it, that bottom oiling ring. And then you can't see the gap, but around 3 o'clock for that middle part of it. But basically, you want to just ensure nothing's in a bind. You know, it should all freely move, and make sure like the top oiling ring isn't partially under the middle part. You know what I mean? Like, just make sure it's all the way on top, all the way around. The bottom's on the bottom, all the way around. So all that's in, right? So now we need to hop to. I'm going to do the second ring. Wipe her down. And remember, these do have a little dot, so there is a correct orientation for these. Of this is 9 o'clock. I'll get it close, and again I might have to micro adjust this. I'll show you. So it freely moves, so that's in that second compression ring slot. And then the gap, 12 o'clock is right here. So I got the gap right around 9 o'clock. Top one. Is 3 o'clock. So basically 180 from the second ring. In theory, I would assume as long as these rings are 180 degrees from each other, you'd be okay. You know, as far as not being exactly 9 and 3 o'clock, but rings came with instructions, and I'm all about following instructions. So I'm just gonna do them where they say to do them. So, top ring's in. There's 12 o'clock. Gap is right there at 3 o'clock. And that's it. This is taking way longer because I'm, trying to do a video. That's one piston out of 8. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna do a quick hyperlapse. I don't want this video to be crazy long, but I'm trying to just show you the entire process. So now I'll do a hyperlapse. I'm gonna do the rest of the pistons, and I'm gonna rebag this because I've kept all my pistons in a baggie so they're nice and essentially sealed and clean. So I'm gonna rebag this back in the bag, and I'll take one piston at a time, pull it up here, open it up, do that exact same process on everything, and then rebag it, and then it'll be a separate video, but we'll go ahead and we'll connect the pistons to the rod, so all that will be assembled, ready to drop in the block.